I smiled the entire flight home. 2 days early. 2 days before Sophia expected me. I pulled the small ring box from my jacket pocket and looked at it again. Just a few more months, I whispered. Then I'll ask. The idea made me laugh quietly. 5 years together. 5 years of plans, memories, and promises. I sent her a message before leaving the airport. Miss you. A few seconds later, she replied. Miss you too. Wish you were here. I smiled. If only you knew, I said. I imagined her face when I walked through the apartment door. I imagined her running into my arms. I imagined our future. I imagined everything. An hour later, I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. The apartment was quiet. Then I heard voices upstairs. I froze. First, I smiled. She invited friends over, I murmured. I quietly set down my suitcase. A woman's laugh drifted from upstairs. Sophia. Then a man's voice answered. I frowned. I didn't recognize him. Maybe her cousin stopped by, I whispered. I started toward the stairs. Then I heard Sophia laugh again. Not her normal laugh. A different one. A softer one. The kind she used when she flirted. My stomach tightened. I stopped halfway up the stairs. The voices became clearer. You're impossible, Sophia said. The man laughed. You keep calling me back. Maybe because you're good at your job. My chest tightened. What job? The man asked playfully. You know exactly what job. They both laughed. I felt cold. Very cold. I moved higher, careful not to make a sound. The bedroom door was slightly open. I stayed hidden. Then I heard the man speak again. You still haven't told him? My heart skipped.
Sophia sighed.
No. When are you going to? I don't know. He deserves to know. Silence followed. Then Sophia laughed. Deserves? Liam. Don't start acting guilty. Liam. The name meant nothing to me. Yet somehow it instantly became the most important name in my life. The man spoke again. 5 years is a long time. I know. Then why stay with him? My hands trembled. I wanted to hear her answer. I needed to hear it. Sophia answered without hesitation. Because Ethan makes life easy. The words hit me harder than any punch. Liam said quietly, That's not a reason to stay. It is when someone pays half the rent. I stopped breathing. That's harsh, Liam replied. It's practical. Practical. 5 years together reduced to a practical decision. I felt sick. Liam spoke again. You don't love him anymore, do you? The room went silent. I waited. Every part of me waited. Then Sophia finally answered. No. One word. Just one word. It shattered everything. I pressed a hand against the wall to steady myself. Inside the room, they continued talking. He seems like a decent guy, Liam said. He is. Then why keep lying? Because breaking up is messy. And this isn't? Another silence. Then Sophia laughed. I didn't plan for this to happen. You never do. What does that mean? It means you always want more.
Sophia sighed.
Maybe. I slowly leaned toward the doorway. I could finally see part of the room. Sophia sat on the edge of the bed. Liam stood beside her. His arm rested around her shoulders. The sight nearly broke me. I didn't need to see more. I didn't need explanations. I didn't need excuses. The truth was already standing in front of me. I quietly stepped backward. Every step felt unreal. My mind kept searching for another explanation. There wasn't one. At the bottom of the stairs, I grabbed my suitcase. My phone vibrated. A new message from Sophia. I stared at the screen. Can't wait to see you in 2 days, Redheart. I almost laughed. Instead, I felt tears burning behind my eyes. I typed nothing. I simply locked the screen. Then I walked out. The afternoon air felt heavy. I reached my car and climbed inside. The apartment stood across the street. The place I called home. The place where I thought my future waited. I pulled the ring box from my pocket. For a long moment, I just stared at it. The diamond sparkled under the sunlight. A symbol of a future that no longer existed. I opened the box. Then I closed it again. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. What was real? I whispered. No answer came. I looked toward the apartment one last time. 5 years. 5 years of trust. 5 years of love. 5 years of believing I knew the woman waiting for me at home. Now I wasn't sure I knew her at all. I sat alone in silence, staring at the ring box, wondering if the last 5 years of my life had been nothing. 3 days passed after I left the apartment. 3 days of pretending. 3 days of answering Sophia's messages like nothing had happened. How was work? She texted. Busy, I replied. Miss you. Miss you too. Every message felt poisonous. Every heart emoji felt fake. I stared at my phone and whispered, How many times did you lie while sending these? That question followed me everywhere. At work. At home. Even in my sleep. On the 4th day, my phone rang. Noah. Where have you been? He asked. What do you mean? I mean you've ignored me all week. I've been busy. You're a terrible liar. I sighed. I'm fine. No, you're not. I'm just tired. Ethan. What? Meet me for coffee. I don't feel like it. Good. Come anyway. An hour later, I sat across from him. Noah studied my face. You look awful. Thanks. I'm serious. I know. What happened? Nothing. He leaned back. Last chance. I looked away. Ethan. I stayed silent. Then he said quietly, Did Sophia do something? My chest tightened. That was all it took. I told him everything. The apartment. The voices. Liam. The conversation. The lies. When I finished, Noah sat quietly for several seconds. Finally, he said, I'm sorry. I laughed bitterly. So am I. What are you going to do? I don't know. You haven't confronted her? No. Why? Because part of me still thinks there has to be an explanation. Ethan. I know how that sounds. It sounds like denial. I rubbed my face. Maybe. Noah leaned forward. Then let's find out. What? Let's stop guessing. What are you talking about? Evidence. I frowned. You want me to investigate my girlfriend? You already know she's lying. I know she cheated. What if that's not all she's hiding? His question stayed with me. The next evening, Noah came to my apartment. I opened my laptop. This feels wrong. You know what feels more wrong? He asked. What? Being the last person who knows the truth. I couldn't argue with that. We started with simple things. Bank records. Credit card statements. Travel history. The deeper we looked, the stranger things became. Noah pointed at the screen. What's this? I frowned. A transfer. For £3,000. I stared at it. I've never seen that account before. There are 6 payments. When? Over the last year. My stomach dropped. That's impossible. Apparently not. I leaned closer. Where did the money go? Unknown account. I sat back. Why would Sophia hide this? Good question. The following day, I casually spoke with her over dinner. How was your week? I asked. Normal. Anything interesting happen? No. I forced a smile. What about last Thursday? What about it? Weren't you in Brighton? She shook her head immediately. No. My heart sank. I already knew she had been there. I had seen the hotel charge. She didn't even hesitate. The lie came naturally. Later that night, she kissed my cheek. You're quiet. Just tired. I love you. Those 3 words nearly broke me. I wanted to ask why. Why say them? Why keep pretending? Instead, I smiled. Love you too. The moment she left the room, I felt sick. The next day, Noah called. I found something. What? Check your email. I opened the attachment. A list appeared. Dates. Locations. Payments. I frowned. What am I looking at? Her absences. What absences? Ethan. She wasn't working late half those nights. Cold fear spread through me. Where was she? Different hotels. My mouth went dry. How many? Too many. I stared at the screen. There were dozens. Not 1. Not 5. Dozens. This can't be real. It is. No. It is. I stood up and paced the room. Maybe there's another explanation. Noah sighed. You keep saying that. Because I need one. Why? Because if there isn't one, then the woman I've loved for 5 years doesn't exist. Silence filled the call. Finally, Noah spoke. I'm sorry. I sat down heavily. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then another detail caught my attention. A date. One specific date. I zoomed in. My stomach twisted. Noah. What? Look at this. I see it. Tell me I'm wrong. You aren't. Couldn't breathe. That date wasn't recent. It wasn't last year. It wasn't even close. The record showed a hotel booking linked to Sophia and the same hidden account. The date was more than 2 years old. 2 years. 2 entire years. I remembered where I had been that night. I remembered the flowers I bought her. I remembered the dinner we shared. I remembered her telling me she loved me, all while she was already lying. Noah, I whispered. I'm here. It started 2 years ago. Looks that way. I stared at the screen. Every memory suddenly felt unreliable. Every anniversary. Every promise. Every smile. Everything. The truth wasn't that Sophia had betrayed me recently. The truth was far worse. She had been living a double life for over 2 years, and I had never. After discovering Sophia had been lying for over 2 years, I stopped looking for innocent explanations. I started looking for answers. Noah sat beside me one evening, studying another list of transactions. These aren't normal expenses, he said. I know. Private clubs, luxury events, exclusive memberships. Sophia never mentioned any of them. Maybe because she didn't want you asking questions. I stared at the screen. How much of her life was fake? Noah sighed. You're asking the wrong question. What question should I ask? How much of her life don't you know about? That question followed me everywhere. A week later, I parked across from a luxury hotel in London. Sophia had told me she was attending a work conference. I already knew that was a lie. I watched guests enter through the main doors. Expensive suits, designer dresses, luxury cars. This wasn't a business conference. Something else was happening. My phone vibrated. A message from Sophia. Conference is boring. I almost laughed. Instead, I typed, hope it ends soon. A minute later she replied, miss you. The lie felt automatic. Like breathing. I slipped my phone away and continued watching. Then I saw Liam. He stepped from a black car and entered the hotel. My pulse quickened. 20 minutes later, Sophia arrived. She wasn't alone. Another man escorted her inside. Older, wealthy, confident. I took several photographs. Then I followed them. Inside the hotel lobby, nobody paid attention to me. Everyone seemed focused on appearances. Money, status, secrets. I moved carefully through the crowd. Near the ballroom entrance, I overheard a conversation. Victor's guests are arriving. Good. He wants everything discreet. Of course. The name meant nothing to me. Not yet. I kept listening. Some of the companions are already here. Companions. The word made me uneasy. A few minutes later, I spotted Liam again. This time he was speaking with 2 wealthy women. One handed him an envelope. He smiled. My stomach turned. I suddenly understood. This wasn't simply an affair. This was a hidden world. A world built on money, influence, and arrangements nobody discussed openly. I left before anyone noticed me. The next afternoon, I visited a small cafe to review everything I had gathered. I spread documents across the table. That's quite a collection. I looked up. A woman stood beside me. Brown hair, sharp eyes, confident expression. I immediately covered the papers. Can I help you? Maybe. Do I know you? No. Then why are you looking at my documents? She sat down without asking. Because some of those names interest me. I frowned. Who are you? My name is Claire. Claire what? Claire Morgan. And why should I care? She smiled slightly. Because I'm a journalist. Alarm shot through me. I started gathering my papers. I think we're done. Wait. I stopped. What? I know who Sophia Bennett is. My heart skipped. How? Because I've been investigating people connected to her. I stared at her. You've been investigating my girlfriend? No. Then what? The people around her. I hesitated. Why? Claire lowered her voice. Corruption. I remained silent. She continued. Money laundering. What? Hidden payments. I laughed nervously. That sounds ridiculous. I wish it was. She slid a business card across the table. Call me if you want answers. I looked at it, then at her. How do I know you're telling the truth? You don't. Then why trust you? You shouldn't. The answer surprised me. Claire stood. Verify everything yourself. Before leaving, she added, and be careful. Why? Because people don't like strangers digging into their business. Then she walked away. For 2 days, I ignored her card. On the 3rd day, I called. She answered immediately. I wondered how long it would take. I still don't trust you. Good. I mean it. So do I. I almost smiled. Tell me what you know. We met that evening. Claire opened a folder. Inside were photographs, financial records, names, dates, connections. I studied everything carefully. This is real. Unfortunately. Who are these people? Investors, politicians, business owners. And Sophia? Connected. How? We're still figuring that out. I leaned back. What about Liam? Claire nodded. He appears frequently. Doing what? Introducing clients. I felt sick. The deeper I looked, the uglier everything became. For the first time, I wondered whether Sophia had noticed my investigation. That answer arrived later that night. I walked into the apartment. Sophia looked up from the sofa. You've been acting strange. I forced a smile. Have I? Yes. Work stress. She studied me. I don't believe you. My pulse quickened. What do you mean? You've been asking unusual questions. About what? My schedule. I shrugged. Just making conversation. She kept staring. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Then she smiled. The same perfect smile. The same smile I once trusted. Now it felt like a mask. Before going to bed, she asked quietly, You're not hiding something from me, are you? The question almost made me laugh. Instead, I said, No. For the first time, we were both lying. The next morning, Claire called. Her voice sounded different, more serious. What happened? I asked. I found something. What? A connection. Between who? Sophia and someone important. My stomach tightened. Who? Claire paused. Then she said, A powerful investor named Victor Shaw. The name from the hotel. The name I couldn't stop hearing. And suddenly, I knew the story was far bigger than I carried the truth for almost 2 weeks. Every lie I discovered made the weight heavier. Every smile from Sophia made it worse. That evening, she walked into the apartment and immediately noticed something different. Why are you looking at me like that? She asked. I sat on the sofa. We need to talk. Her expression changed. That sounds serious. It is. She slowly sat across from me. What's going on? I looked directly into her eyes. Who is Liam? For a second, everything stopped. Her face lost color. Then she recovered. I don't know what you're talking about. I laughed bitterly. Don't. Don't what? Lie to me. Silence filled the room. Finally she spoke. How did you find out? The question hurt more than any denial. Not because she admitted it. Because she only cared about being caught. I swallowed hard. I came home early. Her eyes widened. When? The day you were with him. Neither of us spoke. Then she looked away. Ethan. No. What? You don't get to say my name like that. She crossed her arms. What exactly do you want? The question stunned me. What do I want? Yes. I want the truth. She sighed heavily. I didn't mean for this to happen. How long? Ethan. How long? Her silence answered me. 2 years. I asked. She looked down. I felt my stomach twist. More than 2 years? Still silence. Oh my God. It wasn't supposed to become serious. I laughed. Serious? Listen to me. No. You listen. My voice rose for the first time. I spent 5 years loving you. She stood abruptly. And I spent 5 years feeling invisible. I stared at her. What? You were always working. That's your excuse? It's not an excuse. It sounds exactly like one. She began pacing. You were never home. I was building a future for us. I didn't ask for that. Really? I stood. The apartment? I pointed around the room. The vacations? I pointed toward the hallway. The life we built? She rolled her eyes. That's not the point. Then tell me the point. You stopped seeing me. The anger inside me exploded. I stopped seeing you? Yes. You cheated on me. You weren't emotionally available. I shook my head in disbelief. Do you hear yourself? She looked away. I was lonely. Then leave. What? If you were unhappy, leave. It's not that simple. No, it actually is. My hands trembled. You had a choice every day. She remained silent. You chose lies. I moved closer. You chose deception. Still silence. You chose him. Her eyes narrowed. You think this is all about Liam? Isn't it? No. Then explain. She hesitated. For the first time, uncertainty appeared on her face. You wouldn't understand. Try me. A long silence followed. Then she laughed softly. Not from humor. From frustration. You really don't know. Know what? You think this started because of Liam. Then why did it start? She looked directly at me. Because I wanted more. The answer felt wrong. More what? More excitement. I stared at her. Excitement. Yes. I almost couldn't believe it. You destroyed 5 years for excitement? You make it sound simple. It is simple. No, it isn't. She pointed toward me. You always played it safe. I was responsible. You were predictable. I laughed in disbelief. Predictable. Yes. I looked at the woman I thought I knew. Suddenly she felt like a stranger. Then another question surfaced. What about the money? Her expression hardened. What money? The hidden accounts. That got her attention. How much do you know? Enough. She sat down slowly. I felt cold. Very cold. Answer me. She rubbed her forehead. Some things became complicated. What things? Things you wouldn't understand. Stop saying that. She looked exhausted. Then she finally said something honest. I stayed because it was comfortable. I froze. What? She met my eyes. I stayed because my life with you was comfortable. Every emotion inside me disappeared. No anger. No sadness. Nothing. Just emptiness. You stayed for money. It wasn't only that. But it was part of it. She said nothing. That silence confirmed everything. 5 years. Reduced to convenience. Reduced to comfort. Reduced to financial security. I sat back down. The fight was gone. The desperation was gone. For weeks I had wanted answers. Now I had them. And somehow the truth hurt less than the lies. Sophia looked at me carefully. Say something. I shook my head. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Neither do I. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Then she stood. Maybe we should end this. I almost smiled. Maybe. She grabbed a suitcase from the bedroom. I watched quietly. No begging. No arguing. No pleading. For the first time, I saw everything clearly. She noticed. You aren't going to stop me? I looked at her. No. That answer seemed to bother her. She zipped the suitcase. I'll be fine. Okay. I won't have trouble moving on. Okay. Her jaw tightened. I'll find someone else. I nodded. Maybe. She stared at me for several seconds. Then she picked up her suitcase. Without another word, she walked out. The door closed behind her. The apartment became silent. I looked around the empty room. The silence hurt, but it also felt honest. For the first time in years, there were no lies here. Only me. Only the truth. Only the painful reality of starting over. I sat alone in the apartment we once shared and realized that rebuilding my life would be the hardest thing I had. The weeks after Sophia left were the worst of my life. I barely slept. Food tasted like nothing. Work felt meaningless. Most nights, I sat alone in the apartment staring at walls that suddenly felt too large. One afternoon, my phone rang. "Hello, Ethan." My mother's voice immediately softened something inside me. "Hi, Mom. You sound exhausted." "I'm fine." "No, you're not." I laughed weakly. "Is it that obvious?" "It is to me." A few hours later, she arrived carrying groceries. The moment she saw me, her expression changed. "Oh, sweetheart. I'm okay. You've lost weight." "I'm not hungry much." She set the bags down. "Talk to me." I sat quietly. Then everything came out. The affair, the lies, the hidden life, the investigation. When I finally finished, she reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm sorry. I keep asking myself what I did wrong. You didn't cause this. Maybe I wasn't enough." She immediately shook her head. "No." "How do you know?" "Because betrayal says more about the person who chooses it than the person who suffers from it." I looked down. "That sounds nice." "It's true." "What if she left because I failed somehow?" My mother sighed. "Ethan, listen carefully." I nodded. "If someone is unhappy, they can communicate. Maybe they can leave honestly." I remained silent. "They don't need to lie for years." The words settled heavily inside me. "You're saying this wasn't my fault." "I'm saying her choices belong to her." For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than pain. Not peace, but perspective. Before leaving, she hugged me tightly. "You'll survive this." "I don't know." "You will." Her confidence felt stronger than my own. The following day, Claire called. "How are you holding up?" "Barely." "Understandable. What did you find?" Her tone changed immediately. "Victor Shaw is dirtier than I thought." I sat upright. "How bad?" "Bad enough that several people should be worried." "What about Sophia?" "She's connected." "Directly." "Not completely." I frowned. "What does that mean?" "It means I still can't tell whether she's involved willingly." That answer surprised me. "You think she's a victim?" "I think it's complicated." I rubbed my forehead. "Nothing about this feels complicated anymore." "It should." "Why?" "Because simple stories are usually wrong." Before ending the call, she added one final comment. "Be careful who you trust." The warning stayed with me. 3 nights later, an unknown number called. I almost ignored it. Instead, I answered. "Hello, Ethan?" My stomach tightened. I recognized the voice immediately. "Liam." "Yeah." Several seconds passed. Finally, I said, "What do you want?" "I need to talk to you." I laughed bitterly. "Why would I talk to you?" "Because this isn't about me. It became about you the second you got involved with Sophia." "I understand that." "No, you don't." "I do." His voice sounded strangely calm, almost guilty. "What do you want?" I repeated. "Meet me." "Not interested." "Ethan." "What?" "You're in danger." I nearly hung up. Instead, I asked, "What are you talking about?" "Just meet me." An hour later, curiosity won. I met him in a quiet cafe. Liam looked different from what I remembered. Less confident. More tired. He sat across from me. I crossed my arms. "Talk." He nodded. "Fair. You have 2 minutes." "I never intended to hurt you." I laughed. "Great start." "I'm serious." "You slept with my girlfriend." "I know." "And now you want sympathy?" "No." "Then what?" He looked around before lowering his voice. "Sophia is involved with dangerous people." I stared at him. "Claire said something similar." "Then listen to her." "Why should I listen to you?" "Because I've seen things." "What things?" He hesitated. "Meetings." "With who?" "Investors." "Victor Shaw." His expression confirmed everything. My pulse quickened. How do you know him? I worked events connected to him. I leaned forward. Worked how? Introductions. The answer made my stomach turn. Liam looked ashamed. I wasn't proud of it. Then why do it? Money. At least he was honest. Unlike Sophia. What does any of this have to do with her? His expression darkened. More than she realizes. What does that mean? I think she got trapped. I frowned. Trapped? At first she liked the attention. And then it became harder to leave. I studied him carefully. For the first time, I believed he wasn't lying. What aren't you telling me? He reached into his bag. My pulse quickened. He removed a thick envelope and placed it on the table. I stared at it. What's that? Proof. Proof of what? Payments. My heart pounded. From Victor. Among others. I slowly picked up the envelope. What am I looking at? Enough information to destroy several people. Including Sophia? The question remained trapped in my throat. Liam stood. I'm sorry for my part in this. I looked up. Why help me now? His answer came quietly. Because some people deserve consequences. Then he walked away. I sat frozen for several moments before opening the envelope. Inside were transaction records, photographs, names, dates, and account numbers. The deeper I looked, the colder I became. By the time I reached the final page, I understood one terrifying truth. The evidence in my hands could destroy the carefully constructed life Sophia had spent years. The envelope Liam gave me changed everything. For weeks, Claire and I spent every spare hour examining documents. Every page revealed another secret. Every account led to another account. Every answer created 3 more questions. One evening, I sat across from Claire as she spread papers across her desk. This is bigger than I expected, she said. How big? Very. I pointed toward several transaction records. What about these? She adjusted her glasses. Fraud. You're sure? I'm sure. I stared at the documents. And Victor, at the center of everything. A chill ran through me. What about Sophia? Claire hesitated. That's complicated. Again with that word. She sighed. I'm serious. Then tell me. Claire tapped a file. Her name appears repeatedly. Meaning she wasn't just standing nearby. My stomach tightened. You think she was involved? I think she knew more than she admitted. I looked away. Part of me still wanted to believe Sophia had been manipulated. Another part remembered every lie, every excuse, every choice. What happens now? I asked. We keep digging. That became our routine. Work, research, questions, evidence. For the first time since the breakup, I stopped obsessing over what Sophia had done to me. Instead, I focused on what I could control. One morning, Noah called. Where are you? Jim. Silence followed. Then he laughed. You? Very funny. I never thought I'd hear those words. People change. No kidding. I smiled. For the first time in months, the smile felt genuine. The workouts helped. The routine helped. The discipline helped. Most importantly, I finally stopped checking my phone hoping Sophia would call. That chapter was ending. A better one was beginning. A few days later, Noah joined me after work. You look different. How? Less miserable. I'll take that as a compliment. It is. We sat together outside a cafe. Noah studied me carefully. You know what I'm seeing? What? The old Ethan. I laughed softly. I don't know about that. I do. What changed? You stopped acting like a victim. His words stayed with me, because he was right. For months, I had allowed Sophia's betrayal to define my life. Now I was taking it back. The following week, Claire called unexpectedly. Ethan, what happened? I received new information. Good or bad? Depends on your perspective. I sat down. I'm listening. Victor just lost 2 major business contracts. I blinked. Seriously? Very seriously. What happened? Questions started spreading. About the fraud? About several things. A strange feeling settled inside me. Not happiness. Not revenge. Something else. Consequences. Natural consequences. Days later, another update arrived. This time from Noah. You need to see this. What is it? Check your messages. I opened the article he sent. Several business figures had publicly distanced themselves from Victor. My pulse quickened. The walls were closing in. That evening, Claire called again. More bad news. For Victor. Yes. And Sophia? Claire exhaled slowly. Some of her business relationships are collapsing too. I remained silent. Say something. I don't know what to say. Do you feel sorry for her? The question surprised me. After a moment, I answered honestly. A little. Claire seemed surprised. Why? Because I know the woman she could have been. And the woman she became? I looked out the window. That part is harder. Another week passed. Then Liam contacted me again. This time I agreed to meet immediately. When he arrived, he looked exhausted. You were right, he said. About what? Being used. I studied him. What happened? Victor cuts people loose when they become inconvenient. And Sophia? His expression darkened. Same thing. I frowned. What do you mean? People are abandoning her. The words hit differently than I expected. Not because I wanted her protected. Because I remembered how desperately she wanted acceptance. What happened? I asked. Friends disappeared. Just like that. Liam nodded. Just like that. I almost felt pity. Almost. Then I remembered 5 years of lies. Liam looked down. I should have walked away sooner. Why didn't you? Because I thought I mattered. His answer sounded painfully familiar. For years I thought I mattered too. A few days later, my mother visited. She immediately noticed the difference. You look better. I feel better. She smiled. Good. I still have bad days. That's normal. I still get angry. That's normal too.
He sat beside her.
Sometimes I wonder if any of this is worth it. She squeezed my hand. It is. Why? Because healing isn't about forgetting. What is it about? Learning that someone else's choices don't control your future. I nodded slowly. For the first time, I truly believed her. That night, I returned home feeling lighter. Not healed. Not completely. But stronger. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered cautiously. Hello. A calm voice replied. Is this Ethan Carter? Yes. My name is Detective James Walker. My heartbeat immediately accelerated. Detective? Yes. What is this about? A brief silence followed. Then he said words that changed everything. I'm conducting an investigation involving Victor Shaw and Sophia Bennett. I sat frozen. The room suddenly felt smaller. What kind of investigation? I'm afraid that's something we need to discuss in person. Every instinct told me this call mattered. The investigation was no longer rumors, suspicions, or private research. Law enforcement was involved now. And for the first time, I realized Victor's empire might actually be falling. The meeting with Detective Walker changed everything. Within days, investigations that had been hidden behind closed doors became public. News articles appeared everywhere. Questions spread. People started talking. Then people started panicking. I sat with Claire in a small cafe as she scrolled through her phone. Victor's finished, she said. You think so? I know so. She turned the screen toward me. Several headlines filled the page. What happens now? I asked. Everyone protects themselves. And Victor? He'll try to protect himself too. I nodded slowly. That afternoon, Noah called. Have you seen the news? Everyone has. He laughed. Remember when this was just a cheating scandal? It feels like 10 years ago. No kidding. For the first time in months, I felt detached from the chaos. Not because I didn't care. Because I finally understood that I wasn't responsible for any of it. The people involved had created their own disaster. A few days later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. Hello. Is this Ethan? Yes. My name is Emma Bennett. The surname immediately caught my attention. Sophia's sister? Yes. I sat upright. What do you want? Can we talk? Part of me wanted to refuse. Instead, I agreed. That evening, we met at a quiet restaurant. Emma looked nervous. Thank you for coming. Why did you contact me? She lowered her eyes. Because someone should tell you the truth. I almost laughed. I've heard that before. I know. Then start talking. She took a deep breath. My family warned Sophia. About what? The people she surrounded herself with. I frowned. Victor. Him and others. I leaned forward. She knew the risks? Emma nodded. More than she admits. That answer hurt. Not because it surprised me. Because it confirmed my fears. Why didn't she stop? Emma hesitated. Then she said quietly, she always wanted approval. Approval. Status. Tension. Success. I remained silent. Emma continued. Our father warned her for years. Your father knew? He knew she was chasing the wrong things. I looked away. The Sophia I loved suddenly felt even more distant. What exactly did he say? Emma gave a sad smile. He used to tell her that no amount of money would fix insecurity. The words stayed with me. What happened? She didn't listen. A long silence followed. Finally I asked, was any of it real? Emma looked confused. My relationship with her. Her expression softened. I think she loved you. I laughed bitterly. That's hard to believe. I understand. Then why stay with me while lying? Emma looked down. Because she wanted everything. The answer felt painfully honest. Not love or hate. Everything. Security. Tension. Status. Excitement. Whatever benefited her most. Before leaving, Emma said one final thing. She wasn't always like this. I stood. Maybe. No, really. I nodded politely. But the woman I remembered no longer existed. The following week, the consequences arrived quickly. Claire called almost daily. Another partner left Victor. Already. People are running. The next day she called again. 3 more investors withdrew support. And Sophia? She's losing contacts too. Every update sounded worse than the one before. Soon Liam disappeared from public events. Several business associates vanished completely. Former friends stopped answering calls. People who once praised Victor suddenly claimed they barely knew him. Watching it unfold felt surreal. Not because it was unexpected. Because it happened so fast. One evening, Noah sent me a message. Funny how loyalty disappears when consequences arrive. I replied immediately. It was never loyalty. The response came seconds later. Exactly. The empire Victor spent years building was collapsing piece by piece. And everyone connected to it was falling with it. Then came the final surprise. Late one night, my phone vibrated. A message. One name. Sophia. I stared at the screen. For several moments, I considered ignoring it. Instead, I opened it. The message was short. Just one sentence. Can we meet one last time? I read it twice. Then a third time. After everything that had happened. After every lie, every betrayal, every consequence, Sophia finally wanted to talk. And somehow, I knew this conversation would change. I agreed to meet Sophia at a quiet riverside cafe. The place we once visited years ago. Now it felt like a different lifetime. She arrived late. I saw her before she saw me. And for a moment I didn't recognize her. The confident woman I once knew was gone. She looked tired. Smaller somehow. Hollow. Ethan, she said softly when she reached the table. I nodded. Sit. She hesitated, then sat across from me. For a few seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally she said, Thank you for coming. I almost didn't. I understand. I leaned back. Why did you want to meet? She looked down. I needed to say it. Say what? Her voice broke slightly. I'm sorry. The words hung in the air. I didn't respond. She continued quickly. I ruined everything. Yes. I didn't realize how far it went. You did. She flinched. I thought I could control it. Control what? Everything. I shook my head slowly. That was never true. Silence followed. Then she whispered, I lost myself. I studied her carefully. For a second, I remembered the girl I fell in love with. The one who laughed easily. The one who held my hand like it meant something. But that version felt distant now. What do you want from me? I asked. She looked up. I want another chance. My chest tightened. A chance for what? To fix this. You can't fix 5 years of lies. I can try. Trying doesn't erase what happened. Her eyes filled with tears. I finally understand what I had. I laughed quietly. Only after losing it. Ethan, please. I stayed silent. She leaned forward. I know I hurt you. That's an understatement. I was stupid. No. She blinked. Not stupid. I leaned forward slightly. Selfish. The word hit her hard. She lowered her head. I deserve that. Yes. A long silence stretched between us. The river behind us kept moving. Life kept moving, even if ours had stopped. Finally she asked, Do you hate me? The question surprised me. I thought about it carefully. No. Her eyes lifted. No, I don't hate you. Then why does it feel like this? Because hate still connects people. She frowned. I continued. And I'm done being connected to you. That hurt her more than anger ever could. I didn't mean for it to end like this, she said. None of us do. I loved you. The words almost broke something inside me. Almost. But not enough, I replied. She closed her eyes. I didn't understand what I was losing. You understood, I said quietly. You just didn't care enough to stop. That silenced her completely. For the first time, she had no answer. No excuse. No defense. Just truth. After a long pause, she whispered, Is there anything I can do? I shook my head. No. Her hands trembled. So that's it. Yes. You're really walking away? I already did. She looked like she wanted to speak again. But nothing came out. I stood slowly. Ethan, she said again. I stopped but didn't turn. I'm sorry, she whispered. I finally looked at her one last time. I forgive you. Her eyes widened. But I don't want you back in my life. Her expression collapsed. I hope you find peace, I added. She nodded weakly. Then I turned away. I walked out of the cafe and didn't look back. Behind me I heard nothing. No call. No footsteps. Only silence. And for the first time that silence didn't hurt. Felt final. Felt free. We walked away from each other in opposite directions, and I finally understood that some endings aren't tragedies. Months passed without me noticing how fast time moved. Life didn't feel heavy anymore. Felt steady. One evening, I met Claire at a small riverside cafe. You look different, she said. I smiled. Good different or bad different? Good. I leaned back. I've been training. I can see that. And sleeping properly. She laughed softly. That might be the biggest change. I nodded. I didn't think I'd get here. Most people don't recover this cleanly. I'm not most people anymore. She studied me for a moment. That sounds like growth. It is. We sat in comfortable silence. No tension. No hidden meaning. Just two people talking honestly. I used to think about her every day, I said quietly. Now I don't. Claire nodded. That's progress. I looked at the river. It's strange. What is? How something that destroyed you can also rebuild you. She tilted her head. Only if you let it. I thought about that. I didn't at first. What changed? People around me. That was true. Noah called every week. My mother visited often. They kept me grounded when I couldn't do it myself. Later that night, I met Noah for dinner. You actually look happy, he said. I feel it too. No regrets. Only lessons. He smiled. That's the best kind. I nodded. You were right about something, I said. What? I stopped being a victim. Finally. I laughed lightly. It took me a while. Better late than never. The next day, I visited my mother. She opened the door and immediately hugged me. You're glowing, she said. I'm trying. You succeeded. We sat in the kitchen drinking tea. I used to think I lost everything, I told her. And now I think I lost the wrong things. She nodded. That's called clarity. I smiled. Or survival. She squeezed my hand. You're stronger than you realize. I think I finally believe that. Days later, Claire called again. I have something to tell you. What is it? Victor's case is collapsing completely. I paused. Meaning, charges are being prepared. I stayed silent. And Sophia? Her voice softened. She's been named in several investigations. I closed my eyes briefly. I see. Are you okay? I thought about that. Strangely, I was. Yes, I said, and I meant it. That night, I stood alone on my balcony. The city felt different now. Not bigger, not colder, just real. My phone buzzed one last time. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Then I answered. Hello. A calm voice spoke. Ethan Carter? Yes. This is Detective Walker. My heart stayed steady this time. Tell me, I said. There's been an official update in the Victor Shaw case. I waited. He continued. It's over. Just 2 words. But they carried everything. The empire, the lies, the chaos. All finished. I lowered my phone slowly. For the first time, I didn't feel like someone recovering from a broken life. I felt like someone who had already rebuilt it. And that was the moment I understood something simple. I wasn't the man who was destroyed anymore. I was the man who survived. I went back to the place where everything had started falling apart. The apartment building still looked the same. Same entrance. Same stairs. Same silence. I stood outside for a long time before going in. Claire was waiting a few steps behind me. You sure about this? She asked. I need to be. We walked in together. The hallway smelled the same. But I didn't feel the same. I stopped in front of the old apartment door. For a moment, I remembered everything. Sophia's smile. The lies. The voices. The ring box in my hand. Claire watched me quietly. Are you okay? She asked. I am, I said, and I realized I meant it. I unlocked the door. The apartment was empty now. No anger. No pain. Just space. I stepped inside. This is where it happened, I said. Claire nodded. And it doesn't own me anymore. She smiled slightly. That's new. I walked through the room slowly. Every corner used to feel heavy. Now it just felt like memory. Not punishment. Not prison. Memory. My phone buzzed. Noah. Where are you? He asked. Somewhere I needed to come back to. Sounds serious. It was. Not anymore. He laughed softly. That's the most confident thing you've ever said. I think I believe it now. Good, he said. About time. I sat down near the window. Claire stood beside me. You know, she said, most people don't recover like this. I didn't think I would either. What changed? I thought about that. Nothing changed, I said. I did. She nodded slowly. That felt right. My phone rang again. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. But I answered. Hello. A tired voice spoke. Ethan. I paused. Liam. Yeah. You okay? He asked. A strange question coming from him. Yeah. I said. I am. A short silence followed. I started over, he said. Good. It's not easy. It never is. He hesitated. Thank you, he added. For what? For not destroying me when you could have. I leaned back. I thought about it, I admitted. He gave a quiet, broken laugh. I figured. But I didn't, I said. Why not? Because I didn't want to become what hurt me. Silence. Then he said, that's better than revenge. Yeah, I said. It is. He hung up first. I stayed seated for a while. Then another call came. Emma. Ethan. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you, she said. For what? For helping me understand my sister. I looked out the window. I didn't help her. You helped me, she said softly. that stayed with me. Later that week, Claire and I met again. Same cafe, same river, but different energy. "You're leaving all this behind?" she asked. "I already have." She studied me. "And what's next?" I smiled slightly. "I don't know yet." "That doesn't scare you?" "Not anymore." She nodded. We didn't rush anything between us. We just talked. Slowly. Honestly. Like people who didn't need to hide anymore. Days passed. Then weeks. Life stopped feeling like recovery. It started feeling like living. One evening, I stood alone by the river. The same river I used to stare at when everything was collapsing. Back then, I felt broken. Now I just felt present. My phone was quiet. My mind was quiet. For the first time in a long time, everything inside me had settled. I thought about Sophia. Not with anger. Not with pain. Just distance. Her choices had consequences. Victor faced justice. Liam rebuilt himself. Emma found truth. And I stopped carrying what wasn't mine. The betrayal no longer defined me. It was just a chapter. Not the book. Claire walked up beside me. "Still thinking?" she asked. "Not really. That's new for you." I smiled. "Everything's new now." We stood there together watching the water move. Slow. Constant. Unbothered by anything that came before. "I used to think revenge was the end goal," I said. "And now, I think peace was." She looked at me. "Did you get it?" I nodded. "Yeah," I said quietly. "I did." The wind moved across the river. And for the first time, I didn't look back. Only forward. Because my greatest victory was never what I took from anyone else. It was what I refused to become because of them. And that was home.